Hey there, amazing fans! Before we dive into today's drama, don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support means the world to us. Now, welcome to another relaxing moment with Sugar Stories. Grab a seat, sit back, relax, and let's journey into the story together. Rain beat down on the cracked asphalt like drums of fate. Dr. Kieran Vale pulled the collar of his coat higher as he stepped out the hospital's sliding doors. It was past midnight, and after a 14-hour shift in trauma surgery, he felt every second of it. The fluorescent lights behind him cast his shadow long against the mist. He sighed, digging for his car keys. Then it happened. A scream. A dull thud. He turned sharply. About 30 feet away, just outside the ambulance bay, a figure had crumpled to the ground, right on the edge of the emergency entrance. People rushed over, shouting for help. His instincts took over. Kieran sprinted, dodging puddles, his heart pounding for the first time in hours. She was on her side, unmoving. Wet hair stuck to her pale face, and blood trickled from her temple. Her coat was thin, torn near the seams. Her arm was curled protectively over her chest. A nurse was already checking her pulse. Weak. Very faint. Kieran dropped to his knees beside her. Then he saw the bracelet. A simple silver chain on her wrist, engraved with a name. Ames. His fingers trembled. He turned her face gently toward him. Lightning cracked overhead. His breath caught. "Amelia," he whispered. His voice trembled, barely audible over the rain. It couldn't be. After all these years? Her face was thinner, bruised, exhausted, but unmistakable. Those high cheekbones, the soft jawline, the slightly parted lips, the woman who vanished from his life 10 years ago without a single word. "Get a gurney now," he barked at the nurse. They rushed her inside, alarms blaring. As the automatic doors swung shut behind them, Kieran stood frozen for half a second. Was it really her? He hadn't said her name in years. Not aloud. Not since the night she left. No letters. No calls. No closure. He shook his head, snapping back into professional mode. If it was Amelia, she wasn't just a ghost from his past. She was a patient now, and she might not survive the night. Inside the trauma bay, nurses stripped away her wet clothes. Her heart rate dropped again. A CT scan was ordered immediately. Kieran stayed close. Too close, perhaps. One nurse noticed. "You okay, Dr. Vale? You look like you've seen a ghost." "I think I have," he muttered. As they wheeled her toward imaging, Kieran asked the paramedics who brought her in. Was she alone? A younger one nodded. No ID. No phone. But she was found collapsed outside holding a child's hand. A girl. Looked about 6. Kieran's stomach dropped. "Where's the girl now?" "Front desk." Security took her to a quiet room. Without a word, he turned and strode down the hall. The child sat cross-legged on a waiting bench, soaked socks and bunny doll in her lap. She didn't cry, just stared at the wall blankly, like her mind had shut down. "Hi," Kieran said gently, crouching beside her. She looked up slowly. Green eyes, bright, piercing. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lumi," she whispered. "That's a beautiful name. I'm Dr. Kieran. I'm helping your mom. Do you know what happened?" She got dizzy. She said she was okay, but then she fell. Lumi said quietly. "Is she going to die?" Kieran's heart clenched. "We're doing everything we can." Lumi fiddled with the bracelet on her doll's wrist, a matching one to the woman's. "What's your full name, sweetie?" he asked gently. She hesitated. "Lumi Vale." The world tilted. "Can you say that again?" She nodded. "Lumi Vale. Mommy said I have your name." Kieran stumbled back, breath caught in his throat. He stood frozen as the nurse returned. "Doctor?" "She's in pre-op, internal bleeding, head trauma. They need your signature, fast." But Kieran couldn't move. The child staring at him was his daughter, and the woman fighting for her life down the hall was the love he lost. The waiting room was nearly empty now. Most of the lights had been dimmed, but for Dr. Kieran Vale, the night was far from over. He sat on a bench just outside the operating room, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor. The surgical team had taken over to repair the internal bleeding in Amelia's abdomen and relieve the swelling around her brain. He'd offered to stay in the OR, but the lead surgeon told him to step aside. Too emotionally involved, they said. He didn't argue, because they were right. Amelia wasn't just a patient. She was the woman he once loved deeply, the woman who vanished without a word 10 years ago. And now she was here, injured, bleeding, and she had a daughter. His daughter. The thought still didn't feel real. Lumi's eyes, her small voice, the way she clutched that stuffed bunny like it was the last good thing in the world, it all played over and over in his head. He leaned back and stared at the ceiling. How was this even possible? An hour passed. Then another. Kieran rubbed his eyes and stood, making his way down the hall. He stopped at the small pediatric waiting room where Lumi was curled up on a couch, wrapped in a blanket, holding her bunny. She wasn't asleep, just staring at the wall. "Hey," he said softly. She looked up. "Can I sit with you for a bit?" She nodded. He sat beside her. She leaned her head gently against his arm without saying a word. "You remind me of someone I used to know," he said. She turned slightly. "My mom."
"Yeah."
"Your mom." Lumi looked down at her bunny's tiny bracelet. "She's always tired, but she still reads to me every night." "What has she read?" "Books about stars and planets. She says I'm made of stardust." Kieran smiled. That sounds like something she'd say. There was a pause. Then Lumi asked, "Is she going to die?" The words stabbed into him. "No," he said quickly, placing a hand over hers. "She's strong. She's fighting. And she's not alone." Lumi was quiet for a moment. Then she asked something that made his throat tighten. "Are you my dad?" He looked at her, unsure how to answer. "Mommy said I have your name," she added softly. "And you look like me." He blinked back the sudden sting in his eyes. "I didn't know," he whispered. "Not until today. But I think yes, I am." She tilted her head. "Do you want to be?" That simple question hit harder than anything else that night. "Yes," he said, nodding. "More than anything." Lumi leaned against him again. "You smell like hospitals," she said sleepily. Kieran let out a quiet laugh. Later that night, Kieran sat in the hospital staff lounge, surrounded by files and old records. He was trying to find anything, any trace of Amelia's life after she disappeared. But there was nothing. No address. No job history. No health insurance. No social security activity since 2015. It was like she'd erased herself from the world. Or like the world had erased her. Just then, he remembered someone, Leah Ramos, a nurse practitioner who had been Amelia's friend back in med school. He grabbed his phone and called her.
"Leah?"
"It's Kieran. I know it's late." "Oh my God. Dr. Vale?" Leah sounded surprised. "It's been years. I need to ask you something. It's about Amelia." Dead silence. "You found her," Leah whispered. "She collapsed tonight. Outside the ER. She's in critical care." Another pause. "She's alive," Leah said, almost to herself. "I always wondered, what happened to her?" Kieran asked, his voice low. "Why did she leave?" Leah let out a breath. "You really don't know, do you?"
"No."
"I thought she moved on. I thought she left because of the fight." "She didn't leave because of the fight, Kieran. She left because she found out she was pregnant." Kieran went cold. "She tried to reach you."
"She called."
"Left voicemails. Wrote letters. I saw some of them. But then you changed your number."
His heart sank.
"I never got anything," he whispered. "She sent a letter to your parents' house. When no one responded, she came to me crying. Said maybe it was better if she didn't force herself into your life. She moved in with her dad for a while, then disappeared." Kieran felt dizzy. "I thought she chose someone else. I thought she wanted out." "She wanted you to be part of it," Leah said. "She loved you. But when she didn't hear back, she figured she had to survive on her own." He swallowed hard, guilt rising like acid in his throat. "She named our daughter after the stars." "I believe it," Leah said gently. Kieran walked back to his office, numb. On his desk sat a packet of emergency foster care forms. Without a listed next of kin, child services would take Lumi by morning. He stared at the blank line next to legal guardian. He thought about Lumi's tiny voice asking, "Do you want to be my dad?"
He picked up the pen and signed.
Kieran Vale, father. The next morning, Amelia was out of surgery but still unconscious. Kieran checked her charts, then walked into the room. She looked peaceful. Fragile, but peaceful. Lumi sat on a stool by her bedside, humming a lullaby under her breath. Her tiny hand rested on Amelia's arm. "She's really pretty," Lumi said. "She is," Kieran agreed. "I drew her a picture." She held up a crayon drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. One tall, one small, one with long hair. Kieran smiled. "I love it. Do you think she'll like it?" "I think she'll cry happy tears." Lumi yawned and leaned against his side. Kieran kissed the top of her head. He didn't care about the years he'd lost anymore. He had them now, and he wasn't going to lose them again. 3 days later, just as the morning sun started to pour through the blinds of room 214, Amelia stirred.
Kieran was there.
He had barely slept, barely eaten, just stayed close. Every few hours he'd check her vitals, talk to her even when she couldn't hear, and update Lumi, who stayed in the pediatric ward just down the hall. Now, for the first time, her fingers twitched. Then her eyelids fluttered.
Kieran leaned in.
"Amelia?" She groaned softly. Hey, it's okay. You're in the hospital. You're safe." She opened her eyes slowly. At first, her gaze was unfocused. Then her eyes landed on him. She froze. "Kieran," she croaked, voice dry and soft. He nodded.
"Yeah."
"It's me." Confusion rushed across her face. Then fear. She pushed herself up weakly, wincing in pain. "Lumi, where's my daughter?" "She's okay," Kieran said quickly. "She's here in the hospital. She's safe." Amelia sank back into the pillows, tears pooling in her eyes. She was so scared, she whispered. She was incredibly brave. She got help. She never left her side. Silence stretched between them. Then, softly, Amelia asked, "Why are you here?" Kieran sat on the edge of the bed, unsure where to begin. "I was working when they brought you in," he said. "I didn't know it was you until I saw the bracelet." She looked down at her wrist. The old silver chain with Ames engraved, still there, though scratched and faded. "I kept it," she said quietly, "even when I didn't have anything else." Kieran's voice cracked. "I never stopped wondering where you went." Amelia looked away. "You didn't come after me. I thought you didn't want me anymore. You vanished." She turned back, anger in her voice now. "I wrote you. I called you. I sent a letter to your parent house. I begged you to talk to me." His eyes widened. "I never got anything," he said, voice hoarse. "I found out I was pregnant a week after you left for Boston. I panicked. I tried to reach you, but you were gone. You had changed everything, your number, your email. I had no way to reach you. I didn't change my number until after I thought we were done. I was hurting too." Her eyes filled. "I wanted Lumi to know you, but after no response, I thought maybe you were happier without me. So, I stopped trying." "I was never happier without you, Amelia." The weight of a decade pressed on both of them. She reached for her water. He helped her sip. Then she asked the one question neither of them had spoken yet. "Do you know about Lumi?" He nodded. "She told me her name was Lumi Vale," he said gently. "She looks like you, but she's got my eyes." "She's everything to me," Amelia said, smiling through her tears. "She told me I smell like hospitals," he chuckled. "That sounds like her." They sat in silence again, not awkward, just full. Full of words unsaid, years lost, wounds healing. Then Kieran pulled something from his coat pocket. A worn, matching bracelet. He laid it on the blanket beside hers. "I never threw mine away either." Amelia stared at it, then at him. "Do you hate me?" she asked quietly. "No," he said. "I hate that we lost so much time. But I don't hate you. I could never." Her eyes filled again. I was alone. I know, he whispered, but you're not anymore. That afternoon, Lumi tiptoed into the room, holding a folded drawing in her hands. She paused at the door, unsure if she should come in. Kieran motioned gently. Come on, sweet girl. Amelia looked up and smiled when she saw her daughter. Hi, Mommy, Lumi said, walking to the bed. Amelia reached for her, her hand trembling. Lumi climbed into the bed and wrapped her little arms around her mother's shoulders. I missed you so much, Lumi whispered. I missed you too, my starlight. Lumi unfolded the picture. I made this for you. 3 stick figures stood under a rainbow. A tall man, a little girl, a smiling woman in the middle. Amelia blinked hard. Kieran looked down and smiled. That's us. Lumi nodded. I drew you too. Mommy said you used to be her favorite person. Amelia laughed softly, wiping her tears. He still is. Lumi pointed to the sun in the drawing. This means happy. Kieran leaned closer. It's perfect. Lumi glanced between the 2 adults. Are we going to be a family now? Amelia hesitated. Kieran spoke up first. If your mom will let me, I'd like that very much. Amelia looked at him for a long moment. Then, with a deep breath, she nodded. We'll figure it out, she said. Over the next few days, Amelia regained strength. Doctors ran follow-ups, and social services closed the case after Kieran's legal guardianship was confirmed. The hospital buzzed with quiet rumors. Did you hear? That girl is Dr. Vale's daughter. Wait, that's the patient he saved last week? But none of that mattered. Inside the room, there was only peace. One morning, as Amelia sat in a chair by the window, sipping tea, Kieran walked in with a small gift bag. What's this? She asked. Open it. Inside was a framed photo. It was Lumi's drawing, but now cleaned up and printed, stick figures under a rainbow. Amelia laughed. You got it printed? I'm keeping it in my office, he said. I think it's the most important picture I'll ever have. Lumi peeked out from behind his legs. I want pancakes. I can make pancakes, Amelia smiled. You can stay for breakfast, Lumi said to Kieran. If you want. He looked at Amelia. She smiled. I think he wants to stay for a lot more than just breakfast. A week later, Amelia was discharged. Kieran drove them both home, not to her old apartment, but to his place. Clean, quiet, open, full of space to heal. He helped Lumi carry her backpack upstairs, then came back down to help Amelia. They paused at the door. I never imagined this, she said quietly. Me neither. You sure about this? He reached for her hand. I've never been more sure. She smiled, tears forming again. Okay, she whispered. He opened the door. A new life waited inside. Final scene. The 3 of them sat around the breakfast table the next morning. Pancakes on their plates. Lumi's bunny doll resting on a chair. Laughter echoed through the house. The sun poured through the windows. And for the first time in 10 years, Kieran didn't feel like something was missing. He looked across the table at Amelia. She caught his gaze and smiled. Their daughter giggled, pointing syrupy fingers at both of them. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And it was theirs. Sometimes, the people we lose never truly leave us. And sometimes, life brings them back. Not when we're ready, but when we need them the most.